Happy to be joined by the UFC featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski, who's coming off a split decision victory over Max Holloway at UFC 251. Alex, how's it going?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Really good. It's in quarantine. Obviously, it'd be good to be with the family right now, but we're well aware of the quarantine before we took off for Fight Island anyway. So it's all good.
And really great fight over the weekend. I know, we'll obviously get into the judges' scorecards and all that at the end, but it was another win for you. How did you feel about the performance? A little bit closer than the last fight, obviously.
Yeah, definitely close. Definitely close fight. He definitely made good adjustments. Slow start for me. Very, very hesitant as well. So he done really well in the early rounds, but it just made me dig deep. Obviously I was like, oh man, so I showed a different side, obviously, where had to make adjustments on the fly, and then not just that, obviously dig deep, and Max is known for his cardio and all that sort of stuff. So to secure them last few rounds, that's pretty, in the championship rounds too. That's really saying something. So still happy, obviously happy with the win and that, but there's still a lot to learn out of that fight as well. So you know what I mean. Only get better, always evolve. So So whatever it is, I know I lost them 2 rounds. Now I can go look into that. Why was it not working for me? You know what I mean? And just really break down and make sure next time I jump in there, I'm even better prepared.
How confident were you when they were reading the scorecards? Because you never know with the judging, right?
Yeah, we were still comfortable. Even last fight, the fight that, my coaches were telling me, we're pretty comfortable with winning all the rounds. But still, you're always going to be like, well, you never know. You never know how these judges seen it, so... you're obviously always going to be like, I think I've done enough in the last 3 rounds, but how did they score it? So you always got that in the back of your mind. But, as the rounds are going, 3rd round, we're like, that's a better round. We think we got that, but we definitely need the next 2. Won the 4th. All right, we definitely need this last one. You get what I mean? So the way the corner was talking to me, we're like, all right, we did enough of these rounds. So then, obviously we're confident, but you never know. But obviously the judges went my way. So again, it was a close fight. You can't take nothing away from Max. Started off strong. That 3rd round was close, but you could see me really start picking my shots and really take over. After them first 2 rounds.
Did you watch the fight back with the commentary? Have you seen it yet?
I did. So when I got straight back to the room, it was on repeat, but it was in Arabic. So I couldn't hear with the commentary. So I by then I was obviously seeing some of the people's reaction. I'm like, going, what are they talking about? And then I'm even watching the fight, and I'm like, why are people carrying? What are they talking about? You know what I mean? So it was again. You don't really worry too much about that, but at the same time, it's obviously there. There's a lot of people obviously saying stuff. So I'm not blind. I definitely seen that. But then then I did watch the fight with the commentary. And obviously them live stats, so it did, yeah. But again, look, I don't need to defend myself. I know I won, and the official stats show that. The judges obviously gave it to me, and now obviously everyone's starting to come around anyway, and then everyone's pretty comfortable with the decision now anyway. So again, it was a close fight. People are always going to have opinions. You can't hate on them, but I did listen to the commentary. And, again, I don't think it was done on purpose, but obviously Max started off well, and that whole narrative of, man, Max has turned this around, you know what I mean? And then they're just, going and going and going. But again, I don't hate him for it. But, at the same time, maybe it did make that reaction a little bit bigger than expected.
Well, that's why I asked, because, I watched the fight first and I didn't have the commentary on. I just sort of had it on and I was watching it without the commentary. And then I watched it back the second time and I didn't realize how much they were sort of favoring Max in the fight. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It happens in every fight, right? It's not like you're going to get, completely unbiased, commentary. But I did notice it when I did a recap after, and I actually scored the fight for you. So how I scored it, I'm curious to get your scorecards, how you thought it was when you went in there. But I thought you won 3, 4, and 5. The 3rd round to me was the one where everyone sort of has the issue, where I see a lot of people taking it to Max, but I don't think people realize you blocked some kicks. You went for the takedown. You had that counter left. There were a lot of things that I think were missed on the commentary. But people are saying robbery. There's no way you could call this a robbery, because I thought you actually won a couple rounds. And even if you didn't think you won those rounds, I still think that, no one can deny, even the biggest Max Holloway fans, that you didn't at least win a round. So that's where I kind of take issue with the robbery. Did you feel that way as well when people were using the R word?
Of course, you know what I mean? They're going to say that every time. You hear it every time it's a close fight, it's a robbery. So that's, again, so you've got to expect that going into a close fight. And you've got to give credit to Max. He fought a good fight, you know what I mean? So, again, I do believe like what we just talked about, that was the case. But, it was still a close fight. Even if people, that's why every time, you hear a lot of people just watch the fight back over. And they're going to watch it, and they're going to they might not be persuaded so much. They might even still think Max won. But again, that's everyone's opinion. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. But, but again, to knock the judges as well, you've got to feel for the judges, because you've got to remember, they're not listening to the commentary. They're not looking at live stats. They're playing what's in front of them. And again, I don't want to defend myself, but the stats, you watch back the third round, and then even you look at the stats, it shows that they were actually correct, and you can't be actually mad at them. Again, if you want to be mad as as everyone says every fight, and you got to be mad at how fights are scored, and judged. So the whole scoring situation, it's just it's a round by round situation. That's it. It doesn't matter if you have but his rounds were bigger. I get that. You know what I mean? Obviously, in other promotions, and I like that. I'll be honest with you. People don't understand. I agree that it should go by a whole, you know what I mean? So I agree with that. But that's just not how it's judged. So, again, everyone would fight different if we knew that as well. So you've got to understand that if I knew that's how it was scored, I wouldn't worry about just trying to win these third rounds. And, I'll be like, all right, I've got to go. I've got to try and put him down, you know what I mean? Obviously, everyone's going to fight different. But we both know how it's judged. That's why even in the last round, I'm sure he was the same. In his corner actually said to him as well, this is close, we need this round. And obviously my team was saying the exact same to me. So we knew we had to take that last round. So again, it's just how the scoring system is. Close fight, you know what I mean? Again, people are going to be mad with the decision. That's fine. I ain't hating on them. But I think they made the right call. And again, I believe I could have did better, especially in them earlier rounds, but it doesn't matter. I just had to dig deep and show what champions are made of, and that's what I did. But, credit to Max. Credit to Max for bringing it.
Yeah, last thing on the fight, obviously, and then we'll move on here. Max did have that nice tweet out there saying, look, my fans, quit going after Volkanovski and his fans and things like that. I don't know if you caught that, and sort of my second part to that is, how have you dealt with the backlash on social media? Because like I said, the fans can be a little bit vicious.
Yeah, man, they're always vicious. They were vicious after the first fight.
Right,
you know what I mean? You're pretty confident you win all 5 rounds. And obviously there's debate that some are closer than others, but you know what I mean? It's pretty clear that I won that first round, and then I'm still getting told that was a robbery. I'm still getting told that you're a fake champ, but this was after the first fight. So you know what I mean? It just shows you you got to be prepared for this stuff. This is all a part of it. Again, there's still a lot of people, obviously, that got my back with this. And then even, you even got guys that are like, mate, I'm a Max fan, and you can still see it was a close fight. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. I'm trying not to look too much into it. But again, obviously, it's there, and I've got too much time on my hands. So here and there, I go looking around. But at the same time, man, I'm not too caught up in it. I'm very happy with obviously defending my belt against someone like Max twice, to beat him back to back. It's pretty incredible. You know what I mean? And again, I know people just don't want to let it go, but I'm glad that that's over. I can move on. And then again, if Max really wants that belt, man, just again, as I've said, I want number 1 contenders. No one's saying Max can't turn around and be number 1 contender again. Plain and simple. I'm one of these, it's not right to give him a third fight. People are going to say that. People saying that about the rematch. But, I was like, there's no one else, so I'll give it to him. But again, now where, how long do I hold this division for? Right now it just does not make sense for another rematch. It's just silly. But if he wants to stick to this division, he takes a couple of wins and he's there again. You know what I mean? Again, I'm an easier. This is an easy division to understand. You get yourself to that number 1 spot, you get that title. Plain and simple. I ain't bullshitting. I ain't chasing other divisions. I ain't picking my opponents. There's a lot of champions that tend to do that, and that's something that I don't want to, and that's something I said from day one. As soon as I got that belt, I wouldn't do. and that's just how I'm going to stay. I'm going to stand by that.
I know it's a fresh win, but ideally, when would you like to get back in there? Do you have that idea in your head yet?
I want one before the year's out. You know, I always say I want 3 fights within the 12. It used to be 3 fights in a year, but then sometimes say it'll be on a December, then I wouldn't fight till the other December, but I would at least squeeze it in with this 12 months. So that's what I want. I want to squeeze in 3 fights within the 12 months. It's like a goal of mine that I need to do each year. So I need to do it before December 14th, was it? December 15th, my fight with Max, my first fight with Max. So, yeah, as long as I fit in before then, I'll be happy. But again, obviously, it doesn't really matter, but I do want one before the year's out.
Is there anyone that stands as an opponent? I mean, we sort of talked about this before pre-fight. Like, you wanted to see how these matchups formed out. The only fight we've had so far that's pivotal has been this, Calvin Keator and Dan Ige fight, but I don't think that's the fight that would lead to your next contender. Is it Korean Zombie? Like, who have you sort of thought of that could be potentially
you got to say there's a couple of them that are ahead, like your Zombies. It's a bit. They both got cases where, mate, any of them win, they're clear number one. Clear number one. You win and beat another ranked opponent. You know, if Zabit was to beat or Zombie was to beat Brian Ortega, 100%. The winner out of them fights, everyone's just going to be there. Go on. That's every time one of them fight. I'm hearing, he's coming for you. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I want that. I want them to fight, and I want everyone saying this is a guy. I want everyone pointing at this guy and him being number one contender. Everything makes sense. Everyone's happy. There's a ranking system for a reason. So I get to, again, stick to what I believe in. The person earns a shot, he gets it. And everyone thinks this is the guy to do it anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I want. Whoever can get there first. So hurry up and fight, because I want to watch some fights. I'll go on every single one of them. So whoever gets there first, let's do it. Hopefully they can fit in a couple of fights before the year's out.
Yeah, so that's sort of the thinking there is hopefully they do get these fights finalized, whether it is Yair, Zabit, Zombie, and then the winner of one of those fights would then fight you next towards the end of the year, I'm assuming. I'm just kind of from what you're saying here.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe, again, are they struggling with the COVID thing? Can they get out of the country? I don't know. I'd say that's why Brian Ortega and Zombie aren't fighting. Supposedly, Zombie can't get out of the country, which is fair enough. I ain't going, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and talk shit. That's not what I do. But then you're calling me out saying you want to fight me for the belt and all that. It's like, all right, so you can fight. Make up your mind. If you can, stop trying to get a shot given to you. Go and take it, and I'll see you before the year's out. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And that's not me talking shit. It's just me being real. And, again, I know Zombie's a respectful guy. He's got someone doing his twittering for him. But, again, last time they did that, obviously, it didn't turn well and it went quiet for a while. But we'll see, man. Like, again, talk is cheap. Go out there, earn your spot, and I'll see you before the year's out. Plain and simple.
A couple quick questions, and we'll wrap things up here. I did mention Calvin Keator. What did you think of his performance over Danny Ige? Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, I watched the fight. Yeah, again, I got my eye on all of them. Obviously I've got time here in quarantine anyway, so I've got my whatever sport is on, I'll be watching. But Caton, I knew going into that fight, Caton would have his tidy boxing. Ige actually still surprised me early in the rounds. He made it competitive, moved pretty well, even in the stand-up, landing some on his own. I thought he would make it a bit more of a fight and make it dirty boxing or dirty fighting type thing. In the clinch. But Keator has some good hands, and picked him apart. So again, he's good. Again, I've got mine on all of them. So they're all, our division's a stacked division. We've got some talent in our division. It's a great division to be the champ of. Exciting fights. They just need to get to that spot. And obviously he's maybe another fight away. He's probably in the same boat as everyone right now, and he wants to stay active. So maybe he will. He goes and takes someone else out. Mate, everyone will be screaming his name.
Do you think Keator and Holloway would be a good fight next? Some people were suggesting that if Max wants to get that number one spot. I know Keator might be ranked a little bit fewer behind, but that would still be a fun fight.
That would be a great fight. I'd love to watch that fight. You know what I mean? Again, Keator's got some good boxing, you know what I mean? But obviously that volume and, obviously Max is quite clever as well. So that'd be very interesting to see that fight. But again, man, all of them. We've got like 4 matchups that that people are talking about that might happen. And it's again the featherweights are getting very exciting, and I'm just looking forward to watching these fights and seeing how it all plays out. See who I'm fighting before, at the end of the year.
But what if Cejudo comes out of retirement? He's like, I want to fight you, and you want to do that. Is that off the table at this point? It sounds like you want to fight more of the contenders at this point.
And that's it. Like that is what I want. But again, if the UFC come to me with that, obviously that's when I'm going to talk to them and be like, look, you know what I want, what I've said this whole time. I've done the rematch when I tell you I'm number one contenders, and I'm doing all these things, but I just want to fight number one contenders. If you're going to let someone cut in front of the line and put not only my division on hold, put me on hold, if you get what I mean. Because I believe that fight for legacy and defenses and taking out number one contenders or GOAT status, all that sort of stuff, I believe that slows things down for me, because I don't believe that for Henry Cejudo it's a win-win. He loses, he's not expected to win. If he wins, whoa, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So that's where it just doesn't really. It's a useless fight for me. Even though I'm pretty comfortably would beat him. I don't mean no disrespect to him. Obviously, we're a whole different beast in this division. We're a lot heavier. But everyone knows that I would win that fight. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And if UFC really push that on me, I just need to get paid for it. If we're going to waste the division's time and waste my time, pay me money and I'll do it. Other than that, number one contenders. And I don't want to sound too harsh with that, but that's just how. As Max would say, it is what it is. I'm still in his lines now.
Well, best of luck with the rest of quarantine. Hopefully you'll find a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of fights on Fight Pass. Maybe go back and watch some of those to kill some time there. But in the meantime, man, if you got any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just again, thanks for the support. So again, it was a big win. So just shout out to all the supporters that stuck with me and believed in me. We got it done. And just a shout out to a couple of my sponsors. We got Sportsbet, Bless CBD, which is a funny one. And again, like all my ones, CMBT, and the list goes on. So thanks for everything. Thanks for the support.